If you're a mammal like I know I am, you may be familiar with the concept of weaning someone. It refers to training, usually a mammal, to no longer have a certain behavior. It's usually used with humans on things like, training babies to sleep without bottles or blankets, or even getting people off drugs or alcohol. Well, recently, I kind of feel like we are being weaned off of something in the toy industry, and that is the Build-A-Figure. While once a giant dominating force on our shelf that Toy Biz didn't necessarily invent, but I would say they popularized it by packing giant parts of a larger character up to 14 or 15 inches. And if you bought all the figures in a wave and assembled all the parts, boom. And the parts looked great in package. They really helped show off piece count and value. Granted, these toys were like $7.99 when they first hit. I mean, look at that Apocalypse Build-A-Figure piece. It looks like you're getting like a second giant Apocalypse in that package. Well, some people remember what it was like getting Build-A-Figures when they were big. Most of us remember or are familiar with the current Hasbro version, or McFarlane, where you kind of get a 7-8-inch figure. Again, we're getting piece count shown off on package, which is a huge draw to doing a Build-A-Figure. Not only does it get people to buy into a line and purchase more SKUs, but with the individual SKUs, you're seeing more value because of the piece count. And Hasbro has also re-released Build-A-Figures as complete pieces, usually with different heads or different paint ops. But recently, we have started to get more and more figures that are being packaged without a Build-A-Figure part and at the same price as the Build-A-Figure options. Case in point, the new X-Men 97 wave. But it didn't start with this. It started a few years ago with the Retro line, where you were essentially paying for a package that was going to have nostalgic feel. The card back was thicker. It was a double-sided, thick cardboard blister, but it was really what you were paying for was nostalgia. You weren't getting extra pieces. You weren't getting more. You were actually getting less plastic because no Build-A-Figure piece. So because Hasbro's charging the same amount, they're basically making a higher margin on the figures that don't include a Build-A-Figure piece, playing off of nostalgia and packaged collectors who want to display on their wall or shelf. Nothing wrong with that, but usually when there's no Build-A-Figure piece, you would get more piece count, and that's just not so anymore. Now, we've got figures that come with even less piece count than a regular figure. I mean, you might get lucky to get an extra set of hands. Now, Hasbro's done several different packaging executions. Infamously, the VHS packaged figures done for both X-Men and Spider-Man, the animated series from the 90s. Again, you're paying for a cool package that you might want to display versus the figure. So then there's the third component, exclusive figures. Exclusive figures that aren't part of a wave, that are a one-off, also had the Build-A-Figure component removed. Now, for the first few years of exclusives, we were getting figures with more piece count. Instead of a Build-A-Figure, we might get an extra weapon. Like, for example, Deathlock here comes with a third gun that the traditional red version, if you will, doesn't come with. So, yeah, that way, instead of a piece count, you might be getting more deco or more accessories. As well as figures in waves that didn't have the Build-A-Figure. So sometimes there would be a full wave where 6 of the figures would have a Build-A-Figure part, and then the 7th one didn't. Everybody coming with one. And that figure that didn't have the Build-A-Figure wave, like Deadpool here in the Juggernaut wave, again, comes with way more accessories to make up for that so that the value is the same. Now, though, fast forwarding to 2023, we're getting exclusive figures with no Build-A-Figure, no accessories, and very little paint. And we're still paying the same amount, if not sometimes even more than a basic figure, because exclusives these days tend to be margin drivers, where companies are charging more for product only available at one retailer in order to pump up the bottom line of the P&L for other figures that might lose money or be drawing less margin. And all of the figures have had just so much deco removed. The wipes, the washes, the belt buckles. I know I've used this image 100 times, but it pretty much clearly shows the difference between figures a few years ago and those today. Now, it's not to say that Build-A-Figures are over. Obviously, there are figures shipping right now that have Build-A-Figure pieces in it. And it's a great way to continue to push the entire assortment and to sell characters that might not otherwise sell. But now we have a lot of options for Marvel Legends. We don't just have the basic boxed figure. More and more, Hasbro has experimented with different packaging types, multi-packs, exclusives, anniversary figures, box sets, things sold online, retro card. But the consistency of getting a Build-A-Figure is completely out the window. But the key point is that the price has remained the same. So are we being weaned off of a Build-A-Figure? Food for thought? Probably, because eliminating the Build-A-Figure piece, like every single one of the figures pictured here that does not come with a Build-A-Figure piece, well, it's going to make the figures less expensive to produce, and if they can keep the price point the same, well, it'll help them hit their ever-shrinking margin needs, or requirements, if you will. So it's an interesting time to be a collector. What do you think? Are we losing out on Build-A-Figures? Do you see this slowly going away, or is it just a trend that we'll see come back? It just happens to be that this quarter we're getting a lot of exclusives. Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for sharing, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.